On Tuesday, December 26th, the day after Christmas, all right, CM Punk made his triumphant return to New York City in the most famous arena in the world, known as Madison Square Garden. And it was an outstanding matchup with Dominik Mysterio. I love that WWE is trusting Dominik Mysterio to go up against, the likes of Randy Orton, Edge, and everyone in between. He's facing all these veterans. He's facing the young rising stars in NXT. He's all over the place. His gimmick has just worked so well as the ultimate bad guy. Everyone loves to boo him, and it's so fun to see. So the encounter for CM Punk at Madison Square Garden lasted roughly about 15 minutes long. If you want to add the intros, it was about 17, 18 minutes long overall. And he did cut a promo, CM Punk did, after the match. So it was more showboating and crowd cheese than anything. They looked into the crowd a lot. They did a couple face-offs and stare-downs. But overall, it was CM Punk's first match in WWE in front of a crowd, right? Because you have to assume he was wrestling down in Orlando in NXT training to come back. But, the guy is tuning up for Royal Rumble. He needed to have, a real raw matchup with a live audience. And there's just no better crowd than the one in Madison Square Garden. They're unapologetic. They're loud. And everyone was chanting CM Punk. One of our very own straight up went to the show. That's what I meant to say. Jeez. And told us that the crowd was on fire for CM Punk. So the boos were extremely loud. The cheers were even louder. And CM Punk, I thought, looked great in terms of being gone as long as he's been gone. Yes, in September, I know he wrestled in AEW. But to be inactive for as long as he was and, to be in the shape that he's in, he looks like he does have to, tune up a little bit and get in more of a eye candy, so to speak, kind of shape, because CM Punk has always looked how he showed up at Madison Square Garden. It's not like he's looking fat like Ace wants to call him. I don't think he's out of shape. I'm talking about like the tone of what we're used to seeing is just a little less. But it was the day after Christmas. It's the holiday break. Everyone's on vacation. And I think that as we get closer to Royal Rumble, as we get closer to his TV debut, we're going to see CM Punk go back into full form. He's motivated. He has a chip on his shoulder. And I felt like the match with Dominik Mysterio was not only entertaining, it was very exciting. And it was mainly because you see the environment set up with the crowd being so into it, and that was just a house show. So what I'm saying is not just taking it with a grain of salt. It almost doesn't even count. There shouldn't even really be a rating here. This was for the people in attendance, not for anyone watching at home. It wasn't part of any significant story. It was just, again, a warm-up match, if you will. And I feel like they showed up well. Look at Ace now commenting saying, I never said CM Punk was fat. What are you talking about? This guy, Phenomenal Ace, is a liar, a bozo, leader. I know you have screenshots. Yesterday, he was in our Discord and on stream saying that he looked fat, that he looked out of shape. And I think he is just flat out wrong. He was out of shape, but you said that just with the picture before even seeing the full match. And we tried telling you that he wasn't out of shape because he actually had some bright spots in the match. You know, whether it was the reversals or the rolling in the ring. He had some nice grapples as well. You know, you can't do that when you're out of shape. I certainly can't go in the ring and do that. Obviously, I'm not a trained professional and he is, but you can't just get up, walk in the ring, and do what he did in that match with Dominik Mysterio. I don't care how good you are. You have ring rust. And yeah, he might have missed a clothesline fully in a spot there. It wasn't 100 for 100, but you know, at the end of the day, it was very, very solid for his return match, and it was a spectacle. It was history because it was CM Punk's first match in a WWE ring. You know, within the last 10 years almost. So I'm thinking, yeah, CM Punk is ready. He's looking good, and he's gonna only get better as time goes on. So that's how I feel about it. Do I wish he looked like when he was the best in the world, or even the UFC appearance, or when he was in the top tier form in AEW? Yeah, obviously for his sake. But if he could go and he looks solid, I think he'll be all right. I just don't see what the problem is. He's never been much more different than what he showed up as. So this shock, you know, vibe that I'm getting from Phenomenal Ace bashing him and saying all this garbage just doesn't make sense when, you know, 85-90% of the time he was in AEW, he looked the same as he did on that in that appearance, should I say. So overall, pacing of the match was solid. When he needed to turn up, he did. Dominik did phenomenal. It's crazy to see Dominik grow into the performer he's grown into within the last, 1-2 years. It's mind-blowing. I know he had the opportunity of a lifetime tag teaming with his dad and training and learning on the scene, but the way that he has come into this, almost veteran leadership role of the younger talent is beautiful to see. So, credit to Dominik Mysterio, looking good for CM Punk, and Rhea Ripley obviously getting involved in that match. I thought that was cool too. So we'll see how he ends up performing on Saturday, which I think is CM Punk's next matchup at the house show that they have going on. And then obviously he's going to be in the Rumble. So we'll see how they utilize him going forward on television, because he's feuding with Dominik Mysterio at all these events. He has 3 matchups at the house shows, and they're all against Dominik Mysterio to my understanding. So hit me up in the comment section. How do you guys feel about CM Punk's appearance at Madison Square Garden in front of a live WWE audience for the very first time since his return?